Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah. Nice to hear that lovely response. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Welcome to our Zawiyah for our retreat, 10-day Itikaf, full retreat. And as you know, many of you have come for the full 10 days Sunnat Itikaf, and many will be also dropping in and out doing Nawafil Itikaf as well. And this is a great opportunity for us all to sort of cut ourselves from the dunya and come into the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here you'll be not only be reading your full sort of obligatory salahs in congregation, which again, just on its own is difficult to achieve when you're out there, work, studying, whatever you're involved in. It's difficult to do 5 daily prayers with congregation. If some of you are probably already achieving that, alhamdulillah, what a blessing. But some of you are not probably able to do that at all. Maybe you're just getting in, 1 or 2 in a day. But here in this environment, we're going to be doing the full 5 salahs in congregation. You'll have time for personal amals, to do your own zikr, to do your own meditation, muraqabah, self introspection. And this is the whole purpose of coming here, is for you to step away from outside, from the dunya, and sit in solitude. Although there's people around you, but there's nothing stopping you from disconnecting even from everybody around, sitting in a corner, closing your eyes and just analyzing your own life. This is a great opportunity and moment to do that. That you are thinking about the year ahead when you leave this Masajid Zawiyah after the month of Ramadan, where you want to be, how do you want your life to shape up, and how you are going to do things differently. There's no point coming for 10 days, you've been all spiritual, you've acted with great piety, great company, but soon as it's Maghrib on the last day of Ramadan, you're out with the friends, the very same people that you've been needing to get away from, out celebrating Chandrat, whatever. Do you have that in Denmark? Chandrat? Yeah, it's getting really bad here in the UK. It's all the shayateen, all the devils are out on that night. And, whatever you've earned, many people end up ruining and basically wasting their good deeds. And it's not just that particular night, but it's also the life beyond Ramadan. We need to know how to preserve what we have learned, the pearls of Ramadan, to ensure that we do not go back to our old sort of ways again. And inshallah, there's a lot of house rules, but I will also share as we go along as well, because then you need to be consistently reminded. Our Honorable Imam Qais will share with you shortly the rules of the Itikaf, the fiqh missiles as to what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. But majority, the very basic that you have to ensure is that you should know what the boundary is of where you're not to step out of, and that will break your Itikaf if you're sitting for the full 10 days Sunnah Itikaf. And that's basically, that will be outlined clearly by Imam Qais, but the wudu area is over there, behind this door. We eat upstairs, and we'll be sleeping in both halls, upstairs and downstairs here. You'll be allocated your sort of space later on when we are ready to go to sleep. Just a few things, again, these will be reminded as we go along, is that you do not disturb other people when you are when we're trying to go to sleep, because every year the biggest complaint that we get is, I was trying to go to sleep, but these people next to me didn't let me go to sleep. They were making so much noise. So this is something that you have to bear in mind, that we are not violating the rights of other people. This really is a big violation of other people's rights, where if they're trying to go to sleep and rest and you're not letting them, you really are causing them great amount of taklif and stress. And I know I've had that in previous years when you're trying to go to sleep and there's people who don't let you in. What happens is that it actually affects you during the day when you are supposed to be awake and fully attentive to listen to the bayans that we have outlined for you and prepared for you. And if you're half asleep, then you'll actually end up falling asleep. What is the point of coming here and taking the time out if you're not taking in what the trainers and ustads have prepared for you under the guidance of our teacher Sheikh Ahmad Dabagh? There's a great program that has been prepared for you, which you've seen the trailers, you've seen the posters on the theme of the Dajjal and these end times, and how this is going to be one of the biggest fitnas since the creation of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam for the people on this earth. And we are going to learn some great things about how to overcome this fitna. So that's why it's very important that you are very attentive and pay close attention to what is being taught, because these are life-changing strategies. It's not here. You haven't come here just to learn about the Dajjal for entertainment purposes. There's plenty of programs out there on TV that will entertain you in your own time. Here, we have come to learn strategies to change our life. That should be the basis of why we've come. And what I want to do very shortly, just for a few minutes before I introduce Imam Qais, is just to go around the room and hear from yourselves as to why you've come. Just say very briefly, just 2-3 people from here, 2-3 people from here, just to tell us as to why you have come for Itikaaf. What is your intention? So I'll just take the mic around, just to make things easily. I'll start from the right. I'll choose Brother Umar, representative from Denmark.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Umar. I'm from Denmark, Copenhagen, and I've come here for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu and sit 10 days in Itikaf. So basically for my personal development and for strengthening my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I've had the intention for some time, but now alhamdulillah I had the opportunity to come. So so it's my first time actually for sitting at the Itikaf. Jazakum.
Assalamu alaikum. So my name is Atiq. I'm from Maidenhead. Here for similar reasons to Brother Umar. I think every year there's always like a new program, always something new to learn, to develop on. So that's why I like sort of just coming back. You don't really get programs like this anywhere else. That's all I can really say.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Imran from Manchester. Same reasons, just to reconnect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and see how I can improve my life coming out of this Itikaf, inshallah. So I can benefit myself and others around, inshallah.
Next person, don't say same as the other person. Okay, see ya.
Assalamu alaikum. Just to learn new things about the religion and how to implement them, rather than just learning knowledge that's not going to benefit me. Here I can actually implement the knowledge so it benefits this life and the next life, inshallah.
My name's Ibrahim. I'm from Oldham as well. I'm here, inshallah, for the pleasure and the closeness of Allah, and inshallah a way to find and a path, to find the path to the closeness and pleasure of Allah, and try and get away from all the ghafla that's happening all around us, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum. I've come because I think that doing Itikaf is much better than keeping rules at home, because there's so many distractions that I have when I'm trying to keep Rosa. But inshallah, if I'm in a mosque, I'll stay connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Assalamu alaikum, Umar from Birmingham. As the brother said, everything, and also want to stay away from the world for a bit. Just come and stay in Allah's house or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a few days. And then
Go to Brother Mosem.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। बेसिकली इधर आने का मकसद ये है कि इत्तिकाफ़ पहले भी काफ़ी डिफरेंट जगह पर बैठते रहते, लेकिन जो यहाँ पे आके जो सीखा वो दूसरी जगहों पे नहीं देखा, क्योंकि बाकी मसाजिद में आप चाहें वहाँ भी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अल्लाह का कुर्ब हासिल होता है, लेकिन वहाँ पे ज़्यादातर जो एफ़र्ट किया जाता है वो इंडिविजुअली किया जाता है। तो यहाँ पे अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह टीचर से सीखने को मिलता है, डिफरेंट उस्ताद से सीखने को मिलता है, इधर डिफरेंट सेशन होते हैं, तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इधर लर्निंग का प्रोसेस जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है, तो इसलिए मैंने यहाँ पे चूज़ किया। जज़ाकल्लाह खैर।
Jazakallah for everyone for their contribution. As you can see, there's a wide varied reasons, and most important thing here is that what I always share is that when we were younger, growing up, we used to see our sort of elders sitting in the masjid doing itikaf, and it seemed like a very solitary, sort of a lonely experience. They're sitting in the masjid in the corner, they've got a curtain drawn around them, and they isolated themselves away from everyone. And I remember thinking to myself, that seems like a very lonely and sort of daunting experience. It's only when we came here we realized that Itikaf can be so much more dynamic, so much more of a greater, fast-paced learning environment. And this is what you will get here, inshallah. As many of you have been here before, that it's the things that you will learn from all the trainers that will be delivering, that you will see that it really is life-changing. And a lot of effort and work goes on behind the scenes to prepare the material and deliver what we have prepared for you, and it really is sort of mind-blowing. Honestly, I cannot underestimate what it is that what has been prepared for you, and how and much of an impact it will have on your life. You will see that for yourself, inshallah. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Imam Qais, who's going to be leading the first main session of this Itikaf regarding the fiqh rules of the whole Itikaf as regards to do's and don'ts, because many people have questions. If I do this, will it break my Itikaf? Can I do that? Can I go out, do some shopping and come back? Will that break my Itikaf? You know, people have these questions. To some of us it may seem quite basic, but you know, these questions are valid to some people. So without further ado, I have a great pleasure introducing Imam Qais, who will deliver the next session. Jazakallah.
سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. We begin by praising Allah Azza wa Jal, the Exalted, the All-Seeing, the All-Knowing, and we beseech Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His salutation and peace and blessing upon His beloved Messenger Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family and upon his companions, and upon the Salihin, and especially upon our teachers and mashaykhs of Tariqat Muhammad who have actually devised these teachings that will hopefully be benefiting throughout the 10 days that we'll be spending and occupying ourselves in here for. That without their wisdom and knowledge and advice, we really wouldn't know. We'll be just like any other places and any other institutes really. So like brothers were saying, is that it's unique, it's not like other places. MashaAllah, that's what you've heard. We hope that it will be like this, but the only way it will be unique and it will be actually beneficial is when one of the rules that you should do about any learning is when you will realize that you are empty and you know nothing. When you'll actually be an empty cup. As I mentioned the other day from the teaching of Shaykh Ahmad Dabagh, they once explained to us about how to benefit from the Quran. How to benefit from the Quran, that everybody knows that the Quran is a manual to life, a manual to success, a way in which you can achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to live your life in every aspect of your life. Every scene, the scenarios are mentioned in the Quran, so how you can actually live it. So at the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses us, and Surah Fatiha is really effectively a dua, a request that we're making, isn't it? Yeah, we're all making a request to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Surah Fatiha is a request to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a dua, Ya Rabbal Alameen. And what is that request? Ihdina, oh Allah, guide us. That is what we're requesting, guide us, Ya Rabbal Alameen. The whole, everything after praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, extolling Him, exalting Him, and then a servant is humbling himself and saying, Ya Rabbal Alameen, guide us to what? The straight path. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Now, if we want guidance from Surah Baqarah, Alif Lam Mim to all the way to Nas is the guidance for whole of mankind. Now, remember what I said beginning. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that if you want guidance, there is one thing you need to do. There one thing. There are many things, but one essential thing that you need to do at the beginning. Now, let me ask this question to somebody. Is that just if you are actually listening, is that Alif Lam Mim, brother there, what does it mean? Okay, well, good answer. He's saying, I don't know, I don't think anybody knows. I'm not going to pick on you, but you know, we'll let you rest. There are plenty of days. I know you're tired after driving, but I will pick on you later. Don't worry about that, inshallah. Yes, inshallah. We've got serious questions to ask you as well. Ehsan, are you there? Are you hiding? Go on. Alif Lam Mim, what does it mean? Well, let's hear you. You have a guess. What does it mean?
Arabic alphabet.
Arabic alphabet, good guess. He says he doesn't know, but maybe I will ask you. Wait for the microphone. Inshallah. What does Alif Lam mean?
Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows.
That's what the Mufassirin write. Only Allah knows best what that means. Alif Lam Mim, isn't it? Is that how is it that Allah, we have asked for guidance, and He starts with Alif Lam Mim? Strange matter. And the way Shaykh Ahmad Dabagh, they explain to us, what they say is that this is a simple thing, is that what Allah is saying is that, O servants, O my servants, you have asked for guidance. You want guidance, you want hidayah. You want hidayah to Sirat al-Mustaqim. The very first thing you need to do, O my servant, is think that I don't know anything. You have to be empty. So if you're sat here, some of the faces I'm seeing, you sat before, you're well versed, you already know. That's what you're all saying, you already know. Now what we're saying is that in order to fully benefit is that you have to think you don't know anything. Now be empty. Be empty. Because then when you be empty, when you want guidance, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ, indeed definitely said without a doubt, هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, will definitely indeed there is guidance for the muttaqeen. That is when guidance will come. But the very first criterion he's put down is that very first etiquette of knowledge, the very first etiquette of actually benefiting from any gathering, for anything, is that what? You have to be empty and think, I don't know anything. So here, this whole retreat is themed on the Dajjal. Who is Dajjal? What is his systems? Who are his friends? Who are his armies? Are we part of it? Are we not part of it? All those things will be discussed this whole of the Itikaf. The thing is that this is about Dajjal and the greatest fitna, like Ustaz Zafar was mentioning about his being the greatest fitna. What is fitna? Understanding of fitna, the types of fitna that is. Why is it Dajjal is the greatest fitna? All of these things will be discussed. But the most important thing is how we can actually safeguard us and protect us from Dajjal. And maybe also is that we need to ask ourselves that we're thinking of this big Dajjal, the actual Dajjal, the imposter will be coming. Are we one of those Dajjalines as well? Are we one of those foot soldiers as well? Have we become one of them? Are we falling into the trap? So this is something that we will also do: introspect, reflect, ponder, see where we're going wrong, how we can rectify ourselves. So many of us who are actually, I can see there's only a handful of new faces, but most are actually regulars who've actually been here before. So here for yourself, what is it that we're supposed to do? Is that here we've been away, we've been busied in the dunya, and what we're saying is that in this itikaf is that we've been busied in the dunya, we actually sat in the dunya, drank in the dunya, eating in the dunya, working in the dunya, khair, good. But because of that exposure to the dunya, because of actually being so into the dunya, what's happened is that the effect of akhirah is now waning away. It seems distant. Or what's happening is that we know we're going to go and we're just doing the riches of the dunya, but it's like this helplessness is coming in, knowing that we're doing wrong. We're doing wrong. We need to rectify, we need to, because our time is coming. But it's not working, it's not doing it, we're not actually rectifying. So there's got to come a point in our life where we have to say, hey, we've got to wake up and we have to start actually doing the moment which we're in now. We have to start now. And that is the intention, that why a lot of you have come is saying that I've been exposed. Let's say, for example, it's been years, maybe you've not sat at the calf. I've exposed myself to dunya for so many years. Maybe you're coming from last year to this year. I've exposed myself to dunya for all of that year. Now it's time to really focus and reconnect with Allah on the akhirah. How to mend myself and mend my ways if I've actually gone away. To remind myself, what is that way again? How can I actually benefit myself? How can I actually safeguard myself? So itikaf literally means is to be in seclusion, or you could say in mosque in which congregational prayers are held with in the intention of itikaf. That is the definition. To be in a mosque where in congregation in a secluded area in which the Jamaat will take place, and therefore you don't need to go with the intention of itikaf. What are the conditions? Basically, you need to be a Muslim, you need to be sane, aqlmand, and then what happens? You need to be in state of purity, free from any major hadith. Let alone itikaf, you can't go into the mosque if you're in state of major hadith, in janaba, anything like that. So one should have already done this beforehand. And fourthly is that you need to make intention, niyyah. Need for itikaf, that, oh Allah, I intend to perform the sunnat itikaf for the sake of Allah, for your pleasure. And you do this before the Maghrib. You have to be in and you make this intention as you come in and start for Maghrib, before Maghrib. Here is a dimension which I want you to say is that during the itikaf, yes, you're going to be listening to many discourses, you're going to be listening to many different bayanats, you're going to be doing muraqabah and dhikr and tilawat and so on. Guest of Rahman, guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So act in accordance to that. You are his guest. We are his guest. We have to act in accordance to that. So any house you go to, for example, you have any mehman, you go to any of your relatives' house as a guest, they will give you something, won't they? Even if some water, or some tea, or some desserts, or some food, they'll give you something, they'll never leave you empty-handed. That's a normal person. What to say about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We can't even compare Him to anything. So we are in His house as His guest, so act in accordance to that. Behave in accordance to that. So level 1 is the physical seclusion. In addition to what remains in the boundary of the masjid, it means that you should seclude your physical organs of the body. What are they? Your physical body, your tongue, your eyes, your ears, your hands, your feet, your private part, your stomach. All this entities, try and not to what? Engage them in sinful activity. Here in this masjid, especially in this room, this main hall here, or the prayer room, is a very special place. Very special place. Here, not only do you see that obviously we offer our prayer here, but malaika are coming. Jinnas, Muslim jinnas are coming and offering their prayer. They don't want to be disturbed. Who knows, maybe the spirits of awliya and salihin, if Allah wills, they're coming and praying here. We do not know. This place here, as soon as you enter the masjid, it is so sanctified. What is that? This is how you should behave. Is that not a single word should be uttered without necessity. Why? Is that the moment you enter, look how cautious, how much emphasis, let alone uttering words when you enter. What is the etiquette? Rasulullah showed us the etiquette of entering the masjid, that he emphasized, let alone forget about words and shouting and screaming and just thinking the gobshop area. He ﷺ showed us the sanctity of the mosque is what? Is that he even demonstrated that you should be careful of how you put your step and place your step on the ground in the masjid. Why? He specified, enter the mosque with the right foot. That detail is telling us is that forget about your speech and what you're going to utter, what you're going to say. Be careful even how you move in the masjid. Be wary of that. So here is that when brothers actually make elan and then they're quiet and you're actually asked to please keep the etiquette of this area, especially this Jamaat Khana, silent. If you need to utter anything, go outside. If you need to speak, go outside. Here it should be complete silence, and let the barakah and the blessing fill up and fill your heart up. Let it feel that spiritual connection in here. That is what you're doing. This is the place. What happens is that this is the places when you are going in sajda and you're ascending to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So physically, level 1 of seclusion, you decide which level you want to do this itikaf. What sort of itikaf do you want? Do you want this level 1 where you're physically surrounding and making sure that through your sensual organs of the body, no sin actually is committed from these organs of the body. No harmful engagement is actually done through the arms, to the hands, to the feet, to the private part, the stomach, the eyes. For you, the boundaries are the limits specified by Allah SWT regarding the organs of the body. These are your boundaries. Here, physical boundaries here. Now you, the hudud of Allah SWT, whatever Allah SWT, these are your boundaries. So try to be extra vigilant, extra cautious. Keep the tongue silent from negative speech and your limbs from harmful action towards others. Seeing another, give place to your brother. Make ease for a brother. Create comfort for your brother. Especially our international guests, they should be looked after as well. I'm sure they will, inshallah, but they'll be serving us as well, but when we go there, then we can actually serve them here, inshallah. So especially those who've come far, our guests, take care of them. don't just think about yourself, think about others, giving preference to others. Level 2, engaging the body in worship and obedience. So what you're doing, level 1, you're making sure that your organs of the body are not actually sinning, are not harming anyone. If I just go back to this, here what did we say is that here, keep the tongue silent and engage the body instead of harmful but goodness. Is that these are the two gems that our beloved teacher Shaykh Madabad were mentioning about the greatest amals rewarded, greatest deed that you could do after sound belief and sound iman and belief, after sound aqidah and the fara'id. There is no one who can come more higher in deeds, perform higher in deeds and reward than these two amals. What are they? On the Day of Judgment. Long silence, long period of silence, and what? Good akhlaq with each other. Effectively, this is level 1 is teaching you this. Is keep the tongue silent unless there is a need for you to utter, unless you're going to recite Quran, etc. And the second thing is, don't harm others with the organs of the body. That is good akhlaq. Number 2 is engage your physical self, namely the seven of the body, in different types of worship, meditation. So now we refrain from the evil, do good with these organs of the body. Ibadat, worship, learning, dhikr, serving your fellow participants and creating ease for them. Remember, it is the most important that you create comfort and ease for others and avoid causing inconvenience to them. Simple thing as, for example, there's maybe a queue for the bathroom. If the other person is actually in need, dire need, see to it, be alert. Is he in need? Then inshallah do him a favor and let him go first. The brother is now waiting, the food is all on your side, pass the food to your brother so he can actually partake. Many people are shy, they don't know what to say, they sat there. Some of them are new. Help and actually create ease for others. Bring ease and joy to the hearts of believers. Believers, all the brothers and sisters, brothers are here. Bring ease and joy in the hearts of the believer. That is what the greatest thing you can do. That's good akhlaq. Number 3, avoiding worldly distraction. Now you've got your mobile phone. You see, we have windows. You see the window, there's a window here, there's windows here, windows are here. We've got the heating on. The only way in which cold is going to come through is what? If we open the window. No, the heat will escape. Similarly, is that all the goodness that you have, you develop through the itikaf, through these organs, what happens is that the window of opportunity, there's no TVs here, there's nothing else that you can really do, you're only talking to one another, that's it. The greatest fitna that you have now, which to allow the dunya to come to you now, is through your mobile phone. If you really want to disassociate from the dunya, disconnect from the phone. Unless you need a dire need to actually communicate at home, folks, ask them there's an emergency, then it's a different matter. But if you're not strong enough, I strongly recommend that you leave your phone off, put it in silent, don't engage with it. Leave it. Otherwise, through that, your wife will call. Through that, your children will call. And through that, the problems will come. Through that, the distraction will come. Through that, the internet is there. Through that, what's the latest call? Through that, what's this? There's a job there. Oh, what's this? There's a proposal here. Oh, there's a business here. Oh, and that's it. You've come to actually stay away from the dunya, and now through this window of opportunity of the phone, what's happened? The dunya is coming to you. It's like a portal. Imagine like a portal. You try to cage yourself in this masjid. He said, yeah, dunya, goodbye. What I said at the beginning, say goodbye to dunya. Yes, goodbye dunya. We don't want to see you again. We're not seeing you for another 10 days, at least. Now what's happening is that we're saying, Ahlan wa sahlan dunya, here you go, here's the mobile phone. Hello, how are you? Yes. What's the latest score? Yeah, wow, fantastic. Oh, let me just watch this game for half an hour. I've got a bit of rest period. Or let me watch this boxing. or let me actually call this friend over. How are you doing? You okay? Illa mashallah, unless there's a need, leave the phone away. Leave it. What they say is that La ilaha illallah, what does it do when you do the kalima La ilaha illallah? La is negation. There is no word of worship. You negate anything else and everything else except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that we have to do La ilaha to the phone as well. Qurban can let that they say La, no phone. We say La to the phone, illallah. La mobile, illallah. La dunya, illallah. La TikTok, illallah. La shorties, illallah. La YouTube, illallah. La Facebook, illallah. Unless there's a dire need. Otherwise, what we're saying is that, remember this, what I'm saying is that we want you to disconnect from the dunya. We want you to discharge yourself from the dunya. We want you to disconnect your network from the dunya. Let it be completely disconnected. And what we want to do is reconnect you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our connection is lost. Our connection is weak. You know, for example, you try to get a phone and the connection is weak. You can, hello, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. That is how we are with Allah. We're drifting away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Disconnect from the phone, disconnect from dunya, and reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Disconnect from the temptations and reconnect to the worldly heavenly abode that we want you to do through ascending. That is what we want you to do. Don't let the mobile phone become the portal in which you get sucked back in again. Serious distraction. So this is mobile phones is serious distraction. What we want to do, we want to cleanse our heart and mind from this. Put it away. Hand your phones to the admin and you'll be given an opportunity. If you can't control yourself, give it to someone. Let them look after it. If you need it, ask them and they'll tell you. So whatever level you want to do, level 1, level 2, level 3, choose. Physically secluding from harmful things, do that. Then what happens is that level 2 is engaging your organs of the body with good things, do that then. Level 3 is what? Not only that, your mind as well. Working your mind not to actually disconnect your mind from the dunya and actually connect towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well as the organs of the body. Whichever level you want to do that. This is just few levels. There are more levels. And those who are actually doing a spiritual retreat, then you got your mentors who will tell you what level you should be doing or what things and what your schedule's like as well. Rules in Itikaf, we'll quickly go through this. It's fairly straightforward. Most of you are well aware as well. It's not necessary for one to remain quiet throughout the period of Itikaf. That is something that you need to understand. Many masjids you go, no speaking, no entry, not even a glance, and they just put the shutters up and that's it. As soon as that's it. They're just doing the tilawat and prayer and that's it. Nothing else. No communication with anybody. Khalas. It's not necessary. It's not necessary for you to remain quiet. Yes, silent is better. If you're not going to say anything good, then remain quiet. If you're just going to gobshop, remain quiet. It's good. Great worship. This is even a great worship. But if you are actually going to do good, what is it? Recite Quran, learning about the deen, asking questions. This is goodness. This is actually very good and it will be rewarded. Number 2, it's recommended during the Itikaf to perform the amals, which has been, inshallah, you've been given a PDF of this to your phones. Though we actually got a WhatsApp group, you'll be given the PDF of that through your WhatsApp group. If without a valid reason one leaves the mosque, even for a little while, intentionally or unintentionally, your Itikaf will be broken. If you step foot out, that's it, you'll be broken. And you have to do qada, repeat it. Even if 1 foot is left in the mosque, this would only be done one day of qada, and qada can be done any time of the year. If one intends to observe the Sunnah Itikaf during the last 10 days and nights of Ramadan, one should be present in the mosque before sunset. That is why we all made ourselves here before Maghrib until the sighting of the moon of Eid. Thereafter Itikaf ends, when you wait for the news, inshallah. I'm sure you're all looking forward towards that. It may seem like some of you, if it's new, 10 days is a long time. That's what you're thinking, isn't it? Oh my gosh, what am I going to do 10 days? It's going to be so long. You'll see that if you completely disassociate, you'll fly. These 10 days and nights will fly past. inshallah. If one is physically forced to leave the mosque during the itikaf, then his itikaf will be invalidated. If one leaves the mosque for a valid reason, but on the way is detained by someone or falls ill, in the olden days, for example, they used to do the itikaf in Jamaat area, and what happens is that the food source was actually somewhere else, so they were permitted to go and get the food from like in the modern days, like a takeaway. You can go to a takeaway to get a food because nobody's there to make it. If on the way something happened, unfortunately, you get violated, and then your itikaf would be broken. But he would be allowed to do that. One may only leave the mosque for the following reason: to go to the toilet to relieve oneself, to make wudu if one needs it, not if they don't need it, to make a wajib ghusl, and to get food if nobody is able to provide. Alhamdulillah, food has been provided here. You don't need to worry about that. If Jumu'ah Salah is done, it does not take place at the mosque wherein one is observing itikaf, then one may leave the mosque to attend. Obviously, inshallah, if Jumu'ah is being actually performed here, you don't need to worry about that. If one wants to go out to the boundaries for any reason other than the valid reason mentioned in point 6, then above, such as washing your mouth, washing your hands, doing kulliyah, you want to wash your hands unnecessarily, you're not allowed to leave for those reasons. Okay, you're not allowed to leave for the reason, and you have to make intention if you do. There's certain requirements that you need to do. So, for example, here is that if a person needs to brush his teeth, you don't just go to the bathroom area and say, I'm just going to brush my teeth and come back. Okay, you have to, for example, there's a hajat. What you'll do is that there's a hajat and you have to use the toilet. At that point, you take your toothbrush as well. And then you make intention that, oh Allah, I'm going out to relieve myself. After you relieve yourself, then you just brush your teeth, wash your mouth, do wudu if you have to, and then come. You can't just go. Even, for example, I want to do wudu, but you have wudu. Because wudu is nur upon nur. Light upon light, doing wudu upon wudu. It's light upon light. For this, when you're in itikaf, you're not allowed to do it. You can't do it. So without a valid reason, you can't do. So relieving oneself, you need to do ghusl. Those are valid reasons for you to go and actually relieve it. Alhamdulillah, for you to wash your hands, there is a sink as you go in the stairway. There is a sink for you to wash your hands. Also, for you to brush your teeth, what you do is that you can do it there. I suggest what you do is that you go, relieve yourself, brush your teeth, then you can do that. Inshallah, you're fine for that. You are not allowed to perform ghusl unless ghusl is wajib upon you. Here is that there is some flexibility in that. We'll mention otherwise. For any other need, then please consult one of the scholars who are around. If, for example, if your body odor becomes too bearable, like after a couple of days, now you're sweaty, you're sticky, and you can really smell the man in you, then really what you should do is you should be going now and actually having a shower. Okay, go and have a shower, quickly have a shower. There are two shower facilities here, which is right at the back of the masjid. There's a room there which says shower facilities. Go there, quickly have a shower, and then come back. Do wudu at that time as well, and then come back in again. Again, you make intention of relieving. You are relieving yourself because you are dying, and you can kill others as well with your odor. So this is also compassion upon the creation as well. Is that don't suffer and don't make others suffer. Okay. Is that yes, you may enjoy your pheromones, but others don't. So please make sure. You may like to smell your manliness, but honestly, others don't. So you make sure because at-tuhur shatr iman is that cleanliness is part of iman. Is that at every point you should be making sure you're dressed nicely, you're actually fragrance yourself, you're in the house of Allah, because you are, again, I remind you, you are Duyufur Rahman. You are the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whenever you go to anybody's house, we're always dressed immaculately. We're actually suited and booted, as they say, making sure that people know that you're dressed well. So here is that be wary of your nature. Think whose house you're in, and behave in accordance to that. I keep on saying this. So, for example, if your body odor becomes too unbearable, or a person is very severe rash and has a great urge to have a shower, then one make intention to relieve oneself. Thereafter, go quickly pour out of your body. You can use soap if you want as well, and so on. If one is not in a state of wudu and wishes to do wudu for the sake of being in a state of wudu, this is not permitted. I repeat, one doesn't have wudu, but I just want to be in a state of wudu. Good intention, isn't it? You can't do it for that reason. So what you do, then you make intention. For example, you can do, what is that thing that necessitates wuzu? Salah, tilawat of the Quran, maybe dhikr as well, but there I will say it's optional, it's not really further upon it. So to fulfill, for example, once our teacher there said is that for the fulfillment that, for example, to be in a state of wudu, to fulfill a sunnah, to be in a state of when you're going sleeping, there is that what you do is that you want to fulfill that, you can't do that because you haven't wudu. So what you do is that you make the intention, okay, I will just do 2 rakats namaz, go and do your wudu, do 2 rakats, go to sleep. So are you understanding how you can actually do, okay, I'm going to just do a few verses of the Quran, then pick up the Quran, recite a few verses, then go to sleep. That's how you can actually do, make sure that you have the things that where you want to be in wudu, you can do it like this with that intention. Virtues of itikaf, there's many virtues, but obviously suffice to say, out of anything, we're not kids anymore. We don't need chocolates and sweets, etc. So just to make us do something. But insan is insan. Everybody's of different nature and different levels. The greatest virtue is the fact that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to sit itikaf. That's why we sat itikaf. The fact that we are mimicking our last 10 days and nights in accordance to what Rasulullah did, this is sufficient for us. That for us is sufficient. That we're mimicking Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our bodies, our limbs, our hearts are trying to mimic Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the last 10 days and nights of itikaf. That is what we're doing. Not only that, is that there's a greater chance that you will also, maybe if you're at home, like our brothers mentioning, at home Roza is very, very hard, it's difficult, so at least in the house of Allah it'll be easier. Maybe if you were at home and it was the night of Al-Qadr, you might be watching on YouTube, going through Amazon, Netflix, or maybe watching a game, or maybe just eating, maybe just drinking, not bothering, just sat there because you're tired, you just done so many rakats of Taraweeh and you're just tired, you just want to relax. But at least here, you're in his house. You're assured of actually getting something. Being in his house. Because he doesn't let his guests go away empty. So at least you got greater chance of actually receiving Laylatul Qadr, seeking that night, which is better than 1,000 months in the last 10 days. Also, 2 great fadilat that was also mentioned is that a person who sits itikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan will receive the reward of 2 maqbool. These are 2 maqbool hajj and 2 maqbool umrahs. Now nowadays is that obviously money counts and people understand by value of money. Hajj will cost you about what, £10,000 these days minimum. 2 hajj, that's £20,000, and there's no guarantee it will be qabul. These are qabuliyah. These are accepted hajj and umrah. So you're saving yourself a lot of money. This is a great investment. That you've earned a reward of 2 hajj. Now umrah these days, let's say £1,500, £1,800, maybe £2,000. 2 umrahs as well. Not only how much Allah is that He's giving you 2 hajj as well, but 2 umrahs as well. How much great reward is just by sitting here for 10 days and nights. Many of us would want to do, maybe we haven't got the money to go for hajj because we can't afford it. Look, Allah, maybe we haven't got the money to go to umrah, but let alone that, you sit for 10 days, you will get the reward of this. Then number 2, a person who sits at itikaf with firm conviction that it is a religious obligation and worship, and he hopes to receive its reward, all his past minor sins will be forgiven. All his past minor sins will be forgiven. So it's as if he's like a newborn when he comes out after itikaf. Here is just some schedule for the next 24 hours, and generally these are the schedules. So about 5:15 we'll have the Fajr Jamaat. Then we're going to be reciting prophetic azkars, and then there'll be some short Q&A if there's any questions that you need to ask, any relation of any experiences that people have had. 6 o'clock to about 12:30 you'll be resting, maybe a little bit longer. For tonight, inshallah, it'll be all the way till about 1:30 you'll be resting. But generally 6 to 12:30 you got good 6.5 hours, 7 hours sleep there. So that's your long period of sleep there. You got your long period of nap. There may be some practice between 12:30 and 1:30. Sometimes you could be doing other things when it's not just muraqabah. Approximately 2 o'clock will be Jamaat of Zuhr, Salat al Zuhr. Between 2:20 and 3 o'clock you'll be performing Salat al Tasbih. Okay, this is something we'll do collectively as well, so that people who don't know, they can actually learn, and we're performing that collectively. Some people can do individually if they wish. 3 o'clock to 4:30, discourse delivered by our teacher. If not, brothers will be delivering the first set of discourse regarding the series of the Dajjal and others. 4:30 to 5:30 will be break. 5 o'clock to 5:15, second cycle of the discourses. Asr Jamaat will be about 6:30. From 6:30 onwards, after Asr Jamaat till 7:45 roughly, you'll be doing dhikr and the 5 amals, which you'll come to know later inshallah, is how we can actually organize ourselves in that manner collectively. About 8:05 with Maghrib, obviously that changes, and iftar. Food will be served, we'll be offering Muslim scars, then you can rest, have some tea if need be, if you have chance. If not, 10 o'clock we'll have Isha Salah, after that Taraweeh. There may be a short nasiha between 10 to 12:30 and 1 o'clock, and then from 1 to 2:30 you rest. From 2:30 to 3:30 will be Majlis al-Durood and Salam at the last portion of the night, where we're going to remember Allah, thank Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for giving us fasting, the month of Ramadan, giving us and teaching what Iman is, the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how we can achieve salvation, how we can actually be successful in this life or akhirah. That is what is a form of saying thank you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this Majlis al-Durood and Salam. And thereafter we will have Sahri, and then inshallah Fajr starts again. That's roughly the 24-hour schedule that we have. Inshallah, you'll be given the schedule in your WhatsApp group, in your mobile phones, if need be, if you need to be aware. And if not, there'll be a printout here, you can actually see it yourself what the timing schedules are as well. So that is roughly the schedules, roughly the basic mas'alas of Itikaf. Just to tell you what the boundaries are, inshallah we'll see is that if you go to that door, there's a door there. The door to the restaurant, to the wuzu khana, that is one boundary number 1. So make sure you don't go there without intention, without a need. Okay, so through this door, the door towards the wuzu khana, you open that door, but if you set foot without a valid reason, your itikaf will be broken. Remember this. So make sure you go with a valid reason. Second boundary what you need to keep out is the main door that you came in, the glass doors, the main door which is outside, that's the second boundary. That's going for outside. And the third boundary is you need to keep an eye out, is the just in front of the stairway there's the doorway towards the showers. And there's 2 toilets there as well, English toilets and showers. You just got to be mindful again, just like the wuzu khana, is that you have the right intention when going there. There are 2 English toilets and 2 showers there. Sorry, 1 English toilet and 1 Asian style toilet. And is it? I'm not sure actually. I think one or the other. Yeah, 1 Asian, 1 English, and there are 2 showers. That's for yourself to occupy yourself. And in the main wuzu khana, there's 1 English and the rest are Asian style toilets there for yourself to occupy yourself there as well. So those are your boundaries. And downstairs, for those brothers who are downstairs, again, the toilet area is the boundary area in which you need to have intention when you go to toilet. You need to have intention that you don't leave without right intention. And really, if those people downstairs who are downstairs, it's only for the downstairs people. So try and actually, many people, what they'll try and do is occupy that space for brushing their teeth and all the other things. Try actually be mindful of the fact that these are for the guests and these are for the downstairs people. Try your best to actually make sure not to actually disturb them in that sense, and use the toilets when you got toilets upstairs. Use that. That's for the main area, and downstairs for the guest area, and whoever are downstairs. Try and actually keep it like that as best as possible. Other than that, if anybody would like to ask any questions, we can do. Otherwise, inshallah, we'll just slowly get ourselves ready and prepare ourselves for iftar. Inshallah. Gio. Yeah, no, that's not bad. You can do wudu, that's not a problem. So you can wash your hands, you can actually do your wudu, not a problem. It's just that the door to the toilet, that's the boundary part. So does that mean you can actually do wudu? No, it doesn't. He can do wudu, yeah, but this is fine. It's not a problem.
Assalamualaikum. In regards to the Jamaat Khana, if one's like talking about the deen and the course quietly, is that still okay, or is
No,
that?
this is fine. That's what I said. Is that speak good, remain silent. Just that's the simple policy there. If you're gonna utter good, speak it. Otherwise, remain silent. That's the best policy.
I have an important thing to mention also relating to what Imam Qais is mentioning. We need to identify the smokers in the Itikaf, because it's very important that before you do your niyyah now, before Maghrib, we have something important to discuss with people who smoke, because if you're doing your sunnah Itikaf and you can't stop yourself from smoking, obviously at home, you after breaking your fast, you need to have a cigarette. If you think about it, there's no place inside the masjid that you can have a cigarette. So you really need to, look at maybe doing an intention for Nawafil Itikaf, so you can go out away from the masjid and have a cigarette. Because in the past, what people were doing was having a cigarette in the toilets, especially these toilets that were allocated for where the showers are. And what that was doing is stinking the whole masjid up with smoke, cigarette smoke. So do we have, without embarrassing people, but the people here who smoke, who really who have that problem that they will not be able to abstain from cigarettes for the next 10 days. So please go and see Jabir, if you can put your hand up, stand up so they can identify you. So Jabir will please, if you go and see him. And also, it's very imperative that you register as well and get a wristband like this, a nice fancy wristband, because what happens is that a lot of the local and other people who are not sitting Itikaf come at meal times, and what we find is that they've gone upstairs to eat and there's no space left for the people who are sitting for Itikaf. So this wristband has been introduced to identify the people who are sitting for Itikaf, so they can be given priority access to go and have food, and if there's food left over, then others can partake in those meals as well. But priority should be given to people who are registered and have a wristband. So if you haven't registered already, please make sure you do, otherwise you will not be going up for food at iftari and sehri time. So please, very, very important. Is anything else anybody would like to ask? Well, do we have a few minutes? One second.
Yes, basically that your itikaf, the nafil itikaf will actually break the moment you actually step out. If you go to the wuzu khana, then you make your intention again, you make your intention, start again. That's how it will break.
Sorry, you raise your hand now. Anybody else? A few moments if you have any questions.
Assalamu alaikum. Now, just wanted to ask, because I wasn't too sure about how I can make wudu. Would I have to make the intention to read some verses of the Quran Majid, or like to pray some salah?
So that's if, for example, if you have wudu, and basically, I would say you don't have wudu. Now what's happening is that, but you don't need to go to the toilet or bathroom, you don't need to use that. There's a problem, because that's the criteria to go to the wudu area, isn't it? So now what you do is that, okay, I don't have that condition. Now I make intention, is that if I do want to be in a state of wudu, I make intention that, okay, I'm going to do 2 rakats of nafil, if it's allowed to do nafil, or I'm going to recite some Quran. And if I'm going to recite the Quran, use the mushaf, I'm going to have to open it up. So then you go with that intention, do your wudu, come back, get the mushaf out, and then inshallah you have your wudu. Then if you want to go to sleep, you go to sleep in that manner, in that way.
Okay, and if I wanted to brush my teeth, could you walk me through that again?
So what you do, so for example, at suhoor time, you finish your suhoor. Most likely you will need the bathroom at that time anyway. So what you do is that, okay, here you haven't got wudu now. Wudu is gone. You're supposed to have wudu, but it's gone. Or you need to use the bathroom. most of the people will generally not be in state of wudu at that time. I'm just saying, assume you're not in state of wudu. So now after suhoor, what's going to happen is that you have to do fajr. So you make intention, Ya Rabbal Alameen, and for your sake I have to go and relieve myself. I'm going to actually now perform wudu so I can offer Salat al-Fajr with it. Or you're going to offer tahajjud. So that with that intention you go, you refresh, you actually brush your teeth and then do wudu. If you don't need hajjat, you don't need to go to the toilet, you do your wudu, offer tahajjud, be ready for fajr, you're done. That's the way you do it. So you all by intention of prayer or things that needs actually for you. That's the only way you can go to the. Like I said, there is a sink there outside near the outside the toilets there, which you can use to actually brush your teeth if you need to. But obviously, if everybody crowds there, it's going to be difficult. But if most people will have an urge, will want to relieve, will want to actually relieve themselves, or they will need to do wudu. When you make that, then take your brushes along, or leave your brushes there, and then actually brush your teeth and so forth, and then you can do that, inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah.
Okay. Is it clear now? Yeah.
As brother there's got a question, but also wanted to mention, if anybody's got any valuables and you want to hand them in specifically, we do have a safe in the masjid where we can take care of that for you. Otherwise, the management of the masajid are not responsible for any loss that you may incur if you've bought valuables and you just leave them lying around downstairs in the luggage area. So there is an opportunity available if you want to hand anything specifically in, and that can be locked away during the duration of the 10 days, inshallah.
Also not to leave their phones on charge.
Okay. And also not to leave your phones on charge unattended. Many people tend to do that also.
That is an important point because we have had phones missing. So what's happened is that because maybe you just sat there and you just, as already you can see some phone chargers connected to the wall, they left the phone there, they forgot about it and it's gone missing. So please make sure that don't do that. Allah nakare, but Allah protect your properties, but really it's your responsibility to make sure that you keep your possession, prized possession with you all times.
That's why people
So, just for compulsory prayers, you're allowed to go and do wuzu. You don't need to.
Even for tahajjud as well. For enough for prayers, but you're allowed to go and do wuzu. So, for example, if you don't have wudu,
Yeah.
but you want to do, let's say, ishraq, or you want to do awabin, or you want to do chasht, or you want to do tahajjud, you're allowed to go for those purposes. Or you want to do sajda tilawat. For that purpose, you can do.
Anybody else? Anybody has got any questions? We've literally got about another 3 minutes. Just mention that point about valuables. But you're all thinking everybody's here pious, come here for itikaf. So how can my mobile phone go missing? But it's outside. The masjid is open to outside people as well who come for prayers or visitation. So that's why it's important that we protect our own valuables if we're not handing them in. So if there's no questions, then you have a question.
Yeah, I registered online. I'm just wondering where I get a wristband.
Yes, we will make sure you don't miss out on a wristband.
Okay.
Inshallah.
So you'll see also a lot of our brothers, you're seeing they're very young now. In about 10 days, they're going to go very old as well. So they turn very old as well. These 10 days has aged effect upon them as well. So if you see that, you know that the barak and the blessing of Itikaf has actually matured them very much as well. So you do bear that in mind as well.
We'll finish the session then.
Yeah, inshallah. If there's no other question, then Allah bless you all. Make dua for yourself, make dua for us, make dua for everyone. Inshallah, Aziz, you're blessed people who are sat, you're fortunate people that you're sat in his house for his pleasure, mimicking Rasulullah in latter days of Ramadan. That is the greatest thing, like I said, that we can be doing. So make dua for the ummah, make dua and thank Allah for facilitating and giving us all these blessings and giving the freedom so you can do this, where many others can't and don't have this opportunity. Just that
throughout the Ramadan, if we stay in the main prayer hall and always wait for brothers to call us up for food, because sometimes brothers need time to prepare the food in terms of the seating, they lay it all out. So if we all go and crowd around them, then that hampers their sort of efforts to lay the dastarhan and the food out. So always after Maghrib, especially for iftari, when we sometimes go upstairs, we open our fast, come back, read our Maghrib, then we wait for them to call us up to finish our food off, inshallah. So I've just had an ishara that the food, we can go upstairs, inshallah. So if you can slowly, in an orderly fashion, make your way up, inshallah, and do your du'as. This is the time for du'as to be accepted, and a great window of opportunity for du'as to be accepted. So do make the most of this opportunity to do du'as for yourself and all those around you, family, friends, the whole Muslim ummah, and rather than chit-chatting. So please make your way up. Jazakallah.